Hello, I'm Matt. Welcome to the Greymantle Retrospective, where we talk about our 2.5 or 3 seasons of Greymantle. The whole cast, we're live. Ask us questions in the chat. Um, we'd love to hear those. Get yourself a crate if
Yeah.
if the thing is still active. I'm not sure if it is active for this week, but if it is, get
I
yourself a
don't
crate.
think it is.
Okay.
The code we
Sorry about
have
that.
expires basically yesterday. So
Ah,
and I don't think we get one today because we're
all
not
right.
actually
Well,
playing anything. We're just
we'll
chatting.
we'll have more stuff in the new year. So, I'm Eric
Yeah.
Scott to be the DM of this game so far, but I will not be the DM in the future. Ooh. And you can find my writing online wherever under my own name, Eric Scott to be. I had a Twitter account, but I nuked it for obvious reasons. You can now find me on Blue Sky and also on Facebook because I am an old. Yes, Amanda and I wrote those two books together, and she probably has more of my books because she's probably going to embarrass me right now. I have a book coming out in January. Yeah, there we go. There are two more of my books. I have a book coming out in January called Fallen Angel, which is the third book of my Justice Vengeance series, the main series. It's a comic book series. It has a lot of overlap and crossover with other stuff, including those books she just showed you. But the main series, you can see. Libations for the Dead right there on my screen. If you zoom in, because I assume you're going to be taking pictures of the stream. Anyway, check that out. I really should put an ad on this. Look for that in the new year as well. Take it away, Allie.
Hi everybody. I'm Alexander Pitchford, or Ali for short, writer, game designer, TTRPG streamer, co-creator of this lovely setting that we just played 3 seasons in and we'll be playing more in. I know Eric kind of was trying to be coy and subtle there, but we've also already spoiled it multiple times
We have.
that the next campaign for Greymantle is going to be one that I'm running, which will be a lot of fun.
And we'll talk about that
Uh,
more during the retrospective. So don't feel like you
yes,
need to talk
yes.
too much about it right now.
Nope, I'm not gonna do that.
And who'd you play during the show?
Gee, who did I play? I played the Silver Sparrow, which is a character that is near and dear to my heart, who has grown a lot out of some very fun ideas that we kind of bandied about like how many years ago now?
A long
Been a
time ago.
few. Been a
Yes.
few.
This has been a long
Um,
time in the making, and I have been very pleased to see how it has turned out.
mm-hmm.
And
So
all
have
of you
I.
were a big part of that.
Exactly. Greymantle wouldn't be Greymantle without y'all.
That's right.
So who's next?
Amanda.
Oh, hi, it's
I'm just
me.
gonna call out
Um,
people. Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda Cherry. I mostly write books about women who are very powerful and who are not very nice. And a couple of years back, um, I let it slip that one of the things I had aspired to since the dawn of the internet was to be part of an actual play, live streaming D&D game. And Eric, who's I had gotten him kind of drunk a couple of times the week before, realized that they might have a spot in this game for a guest star. And so he was like, "Hey, would you be interested?" And I was like, "Interested is not the word, my friend." And so I rolled up this character and we had so much fun that they invited me back every week for years now. And it has been one of the highlights of my professional life and one of the great joys of my existence to play Anji, who is the thirsty pink bard who is mostly for decoration. Um, she's been so much fun to learn through and grow with, and just an outlet for my most extreme musician coded silliness. And yeah, this has been a blast, and I still pinch myself that I got to do this. So thank you to Ali and to
Yeah.
Eric for creating the world, and for the Dungeon Scrawlers audience for not being like, can you tell that purple-headed loudmouth chick to exit? Because I kept waiting for that to happen. Be like, we don't like her. Can you not? But it didn't, because we have the best audience on Twitch. And so I appreciate all of you at home watching, and everybody, these amazing players who made space for me and my weird, silly, goofy bardness.
There was no way we were gonna kick Amanda out. Okay, take it
Yeah.
away, Jen.
Hello, I'm Jen. I go by Savage Sparrow on the internet and run savagesparrow.com, an awesome website for nerdy apparel and accessories. The Adventurer's Armaments collection is coming out very soon. In fact, at least the dresses should be shipping to me sometime this week, which means they'll be arriving sometime in January, which is rad. So you should check it out to level up your look at the table. Uh, and at this game, I played Oriana Devereaux the Vainglory, and like, man, it was really, really fun. What a journey! I want to thank Ellie and Eric for letting me be a part of it, and my fellow role players, Lex and Amanda. It was so fun getting to play with everybody. I don't honestly remember how I got involved, other than like, yeah, sure, I'll do a thing. um, and I don't know, it was delightful. I hope everybody enjoyed the torrid K-drama romance that was mine and Allie's characters, and yeah.
I just appeared outside your apartment building one day, and I'm like, I'm putting together a team.
Oh man, see, I thought you were gonna go with like you were holding a sign and a boombox.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do for season 4.
Okay. Eric,
Put that pitch, I'm in.
I'll drive.
Yes.
Like, let's just
Okay.
Cameron Crowe movie.
There we
Oh my
go.
god. Oh my god. All right, before we go to Lex, I just want to point out one thing. Jen also did the art for the characters here on Greymantle. So those of you on the Discord, I put those in the announcements, so you probably saw those. There's more art, and there's more art a-coming for Greymantle in the future. Take it away, Lex.
Hi, I'm Lex. I don't remember how intros work, so I'll just talk about the character I play.
Yes. Perfect.
So I played Sounder. That is a kind of nickname she goes by amongst her various work crew and smuggling contacts. Her actual full name, if I remember it, I wrote it down somewhere, was something like Isabel something Rhodesia, and Ib for short amongst her family. But that never came up. So.
No, it never
Fun
did.
I don't think that was ever disclosed during the 3 seasons.
It's on her main character sheet. Like,
yeah, but I don't think we ever said it on the screen. Right?
I only knew that because sometimes you'll use D&D Beyond to roll dice, and that it'll say your character's full name as what you rolled.
And every time, like, it came up once at the very beginning and never again. And I was just like, it is fine because Sounder is Sounder. That's just who she is. But
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we have completed 3 seasons of Greymantle. The first 3 seasons. There is more Greymantle to come, but I would like to talk briefly, or maybe not so briefly, about the 3 seasons that we have accomplished. And where our characters went, where they started, and just some like fun things you remember from the season. I should really open up the Twitch so that I can see the chat. I don't always do this, but I'm going to do it this time, and hopefully it's going to go well.
Just
My
remember
computer
to
is
mute the
old, and
tab.
it can only have so many things open at a time. All right.
Just remember to mute the tab, because I made that mistake once, and it turned everyone's world into gibberish until we figured out what was wrong.
So these ladies, the Daughters of Darkness, that's what they were called from their initial inception, which is very cringy, but it stuck. Went from being collected for a heist to a bigger heist that then had implications that set off an entire zombie plague. And it's just like small scale, medium scale, big scale. And things just escalated. And I really liked the kind of like inverted pyramid of our story until it got to the very top and it became too top heavy and it all collapsed and everything fell apart in this glorious finale.
It was good. I actually really appreciate that you took the storytelling that way, because I don't know, player doesn't even know like what the characters' connections were prior to my showing up, but I know for where Anji was, mentally and emotionally, like for her to buy in to the big thing it needed to grow like that. It felt like the relationships grew organically, and it got to a point where, well, this is terrible and the world is going to end, but I would have noped out had this happen earlier in the interrelational dynamic with the team. I would have been like, "Oh, yeah, it was really nice to meet you.
100%.
Bye." So the fact that it got the deeper and the broader and the stakes raised beyond just what was important to this core group of people, that it went at a pace that felt like I'm going to stay connected to the group, and it was never a moment where player had to make the decision that, like, if I'm going to stay in this stream, I'm going to have to go against my character's better inclinations because she wants to run. Like, you waited to raise the stakes like that until you had in character, in universe buy-in on a level that would allow us to pursue that. And
Until
not
you were
every DM is
invested.
able to do that.
Yeah, slowly boiling pot that you were in. Slowly boiling plot. Yeah. No, I'm glad that worked for you. That was definitely intentional, because Anji in particular is I don't want to say flighty, but she runs when it gets too much, right? She's a smart girl, and she's not going to get involved if she doesn't have to. So I made it so that she had to.
How dare Sparrow says, because Sparrow would never run when things get difficult.
No, Sparrow runs after things are done being difficult, and it's going to cool down and be easy. Sparrow ran when it was going to finally get easy.
Sparrow has a bit of that Peter Parker luck, right? The protagonist bad luck happens to her. Plot happens to Sparrow. And I was pretty sure that there was no way Sparrow was going to get out of this, but I had to ensnare you others a little bit more subtly as time went on.
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
It just looked like Ali was about to say something.
I've got a thought, but I could wait.
Okay. So it's funny that y'all are talking about running, because if I had not built Sounder to have that annoying stubbornness to her of I'm in it now and I'm not leaving till I'm satisfied, she'd have left season 1. Like, what do you mean this Lord Robillard with his weird eldritch nonsense is doing mind fuckery? I'm out.
Man, I feel like I was playing like the only character that had like the concrete tie of like, no, you are literally curse bound to stay here until you get that sorted out. So like my character's trying to leave and it's just like, dang it.
No, you're stuck. You're so stuck.
We've got a question from Rumpus asking, you've mentioned the next season will be more about Dayside. Will it be new characters?
Yes.
And the answer to that question is yes. It's going to be a whole new cast of characters, same players, maybe some new faces. We're looking into that, but
I do want to say one thing about the characters getting invested in the plot before we get too much into that.
Sure.
Sounder has been ride or die since the beginning, and I want to call that out. Like, Sounder was fully committed to this. Like, no, we gotta repair this. I work here. There cannot be chaos, and I need to stop this from happening. And like, I feel like to some extent Sounder was the heart of the team. You know, if Sounder had not been there, the team would have broken apart many times.
Yes.
Or at least we would have massacred a lot more people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we would have done a lot
burned down a lot more buildings, etc.
A lot more unethical behavior.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
I will say, the thing that kept Sparrow from just saying, you know what, good luck with this, and leaving was Ori. Ori's involvement, because it's like, oh, I can't abandon Oriana through this.
But then,
yes.
But then again, as soon as it's like, oh, everything's gonna be all right, peace them out.
But we didn't
know
everything was going to be all right. It could
Mm-hmm.
have been very messy and unpleasant, and that's scary.
Genuinely,
that's scary.
The dynamic between Sparrow and Oriana was very important for keeping the plot going, keeping the drama going. keeping the hype up, because you never really knew exactly how it was going to go between them.
Mm-hmm. You know how many
And
times I had to stop myself from Sparrow, like getting a little too vulnerable because it didn't feel like the right moment. Like it felt like it would be a good moment, but it wouldn't feel like the right moment, or didn't feel like it was appropriate for like she still had this block, and I had to be like, nope, no, Allie, rein it back in. Don't get too sappy. Pull it back.
So, second fun fact. Whatever it was that Sparrow and Ori had going on was a big part of why Sounder was like, no, I'm not leaving till I'm satisfied. So Sparrow leaving at the end was that double, why have you left? You were supposed to get together, damn it.
Oh,
and that
was Sounder shipping us?
Yes! The entire time!
Well,
I
that's
was
the
like,
thing,
like Isadora. It's like, who is
So-
this?
And
So from
Anji wasn't so much shipping it as like taking it as a given, because that was the state of the universe when she arrived. So like obviously this is just how it is. And then suddenly as she's already like questioning her own relationship to relationships, that happened, and she's like, wait, the state of the world has just been altered, and I am not okay, but the only thing I can think of that is more not okay than me right now is Oriana. So let me try to make her okay, because that might make me okay too. Like, I'm just going to be there for you because I can't think of anything else to do in this moment.
Yeah, the rise of the friendship between Anji and Oriana was so real and valid.
Yeah.
I loved watching that kind of develop. That was a lot of fun.
It really,
solidarity,
because that's the thing is where Anji came from. Like the relationships, the people around you were the only thing about you, right? And her family, they weren't dukes and kings, they were earls and counts, and so they always had people pecking at them and wanting to be where they needed to be in the pecking order. And she couldn't take it anymore and ran off, and she sees Oriana struggling with a very parallel experience to that, and she's like, oh, and then it becomes like the Leo McGarry story in The West Wing, where she's like, I'm gonna jump in this hole too because I've been in here before and I know how to get out. So
I love that.
So now they're in the hole together, and they're like, well, this sucks, but there's two of us. So
yeah, I just like to imagine that there's like, you know, like some point later where they're just like suntanning on like fantasy like lawn chairs, like sipping mimosas in front of the hellfire. Like,
yes.
Well, Oriana is a very powerful friend for Anji to have.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, the friendship bond between them is very real. And I'd like to see, you know, how that evolves. And if we're going to get some insight into that in the next campaign, which is set some years in the future. So, I mean, maybe we'll learn more about it. Maybe we won't. Who knows? Anyway, Allie, you were saying.
I was going to say, and I kind of half lost my train of thought. I think I know where I was going.
I apologize.
You're fine. I think as far as like that ship goes, though, like you mentioned, Amanda, you mentioned like as things were about to get easy, but from Sparrow's perspective, that's not what was happening. Things were about to get very difficult, and given the 1-2 punch of Isadora
that
doing what she did
was just oof. Ooh, it was beautiful.
That heel turn, and her heart getting broken, and then she turns to the only person she can think of to turn to for stability and comfort, and only to be met with like we need to talk, and she's just like, I can't do this. I can't freaking do this. So she got scared.
Most terrifying words in the English language. We need to talk.
Yeah. So she bolted, and I loved getting those little epilogues where she got to have this moment where she just is by herself and she breaks, because like that it felt for her, it felt like she recognized immediately the mistake she made, but also felt like she couldn't really go back on it. like I've messed it up. I have to deal with that and like bear my pain in alone because that's what I deserve. Which is not actually what the case was. It wasn't the truth, but that's where her head was.
That was her perception. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels very much like if Anji were to ever run into Sparrow in like the scarf store or something, it would be that moment in the Sex and the City movie when Charlotte runs into Big and just like, do you even I am not speaking to you, but also I have 1,000 things I need to put in your ear because by golly, you did a wrong thing. Like Anji would tell Sparrow off in a way that she has always wanted to tell someone off and never had the opportunity.
That would be delightful. I know that one thing I want to like, because I know we might revisit these characters, and I'm excited by the possibility of revisiting these characters down the line. But I definitely there is a little side thing that Jen and I did. This was mostly just for the benefit of my players at home, because they're playing in a game that is 20 years after all of this. And those meddling kids basically tricked Sparrow into a one-on-one with Oriana.
They parent trapped her.
They parent trapped Sparrow. And so we filmed that conversation.
Oh, brilliant.
It is like an hour long, guys. And
well, they got a lot to talk about 20 years down the line.
Yeah. So like, if we do something in the future, depending on when we set it, I want to make sure we don't step on the toes of that one-on-one. I may even like, if Jen's okay with it, I might edit it and throw it up somewhere with like a little like, here's the situation kind of thing. But for the most part, it's just kind of a thing like, hey, you guys forced Sparrow into this situation. Here's the conversation.
Well, and we for the audience's benefit, we have been talking about some written materials. We've been talking about the possibility of some narrative fiction, a short story, an art book. And so I do think it would be important to include that as canon for any like written stories that come later. Like, okay, we know, like, I hate to use the Wookiee on my shirt as the example here, but like, we know what happens at the end of Return of the Jedi, and we know what happens at the beginning of The Force Awakens, and we got a big gap to play in. So
this is the Greymantle EU.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
right. So like we can play in that space without violating that is canon and that is truth.
Oh yeah. Which is like, I know that the big push that I want to make for the thing we were talking about, the writing and stuff, like, at least for now, at least this one, if we do more, we can play around in that. But like, I'm definitely aiming that one more at like, here's kind of like some exploration of the city and its people before all the shenaniganry. Like, I'm planning a young Ori and Sparrow story. That would be adorable.
I'm doing the Anji and Tarant meet cute, like how they first became acquainted with each other and wound up working together entirely by accident, and then discovered, hey, we have a complementary skill set. We should do this more often. And also, can I drink on your tab? Like,
please tell me it starts where like Anji's performing and like Tarant's the guy that randomly trips and spills beer on her dress or something, and then they meet later, and it's like that, like, but it's like they have to like, the professionalism of a job.
It very much, I mean, I could add somebody spilling a drink on somebody. The idea is that they're at the same society party, both intent on committing crimes, and they mistakenly think each other is there to commit the same crime they are, but they're not. And once they figure that out, they're like, oh, well, if you help me commit this crime, I can help you commit that crime, and then we can meet back later. and you can drink on my tab while we
Yeah.
talk about the crime that we committed.
Call back
Nice.
to the train heist dynamic that happened.
Oh no, I'm here to steal that. You're here to steal that. Well, I have a key to the room where that is. The one hanging on the wall is actually a fake. If you help
Oh,
me
you
do
got
the
the
thing
key
I'm
already.
doing, yeah, no,
Oh,
they gave me the key because that's where they let me keep my stuff.
All
If
right,
you
what do you
help
want
me,
for it?
yeah, you help me steal this thing, I will let you pick my pocket, and then you can just have the key and steal whatever you
Yeah.
want.
All right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that is sort of how I'm setting up their first meeting, and how they sort of accidentally come to trust each other because they realize we can commit two crimes much easier than either one of us could commit an individual crime.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this leads me to a question I wanted to ask about Anji specifically. When did Anji's attitude toward Tarant change?
Oh God. When she thought he was fixing to die. Like she just
Okay.
it probably had been there for a long time, but because relationships were the one thing that like harmed her whole life until she came over to Nightside, she was just not having any. She had decided she wasn't going to care about people, and that was just who she was going to be. And then she's like, "Oh, this person who's sort of made sure that I don't get taken advantage of and that I'm okay is fixing to die, and I'm not okay with that." And then as she like sat there and really thought that she was going to hold his hand while he died, and then instead she fell asleep and woke up and he's cooking bacon. um she just had this realization that, like, you know what, I also care about the women on my team, and like I also have found people who are willing to accept me for who I am and not somebody they want me to be, and like I can have relationships as my authentic self. And so I'm going to stop hiding from giving a damn and pretending I
Yeah.
don't, and just like be a whole person again.
Yeah, it feels like season 3 kind of cracked Anji's pragmatic cold heart a little bit.
Yeah.
And she got to like kind of blossom into being more embracing of other people and in a more genuine, direct sort of way. Contrasted with Sparrow, who had the opposite reaction to season 3, as I see it. Like season 3 left Sparrow isolated and distanced from everybody because of her own hesitations and fears. And I really like the way that played out. Allie and Jen, you get most of the credit here. I just kind of like gave you stuff to react to, and then you took it and ran with it. So like that was amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really enjoyed that.
I really loved getting to tie it back all the way back to Demott with the when we had gosh, what it was the heist game, wasn't it? Where we had the conversation about where he was like, "Look, you should rekindle that relationship."
Oh, that
And
was the very first heist.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And
He put that bug in your ear immediately.
yeah. So
Mhm.
like having that, and then like their conversations like through the first part of season 2, and like where he's like, yeah, Sparrow's joined this other entity and you need to keep watch on that, and like, yeah, like enjoy the relationship, but she will betray you. And then having it come back to just that final thing of like, yeah, so you were right.
No. Well, and you know what's funny is there was a moment, and I'm not going to say where exactly just yet, where Sparrow almost said those three little words.
Yes.
Do you
I
know
remember it.
when?
Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, because
Well,
John
I'm
has
kind of hear like
ADHD.
I kind of want to hear what Lex was moment Lex was
So
thinking.
I'm probably wrong, but I think it actually happened fairly early on, not season 3. I think it was, I can't remember if it was the end events of season 1 or some of the kerfuffle at the beginning of season 2, where it was just that brief moment of we're about to go do something that we might not see each other again, at least for a little while.
You're close, actually. It was toward the beginning of season 2. It was during the kerfuffle on the train cars, is actually when things really went to shit.
Oh,
And
when the
Ori
Things
Guardian
were
got,
going
activated.
increasingly sideways.
Yeah.
Ori got
Yeah.
knocked off, and Sparrow grabbed her as she was falling. That's when she pulled her
Ah!
back up. Sparrow almost said it, and then things kept going sideways, and she didn't get the opportunity, and then she lost
Oh.
the confidence to do so.
Oh no.
I would have
Yeah.
made everything so different.
Yep, it would have been definitely a very much more interesting scenario unfolding from there. Because that's the thing, she absolutely loves Ori, but she's also got commitment issues and has difficulty expressing her emotions. And also, there's the unfortunate aspect of one character largely being fairly monogamous and the other character being largely polyamorous, and neither of them freaking communicating with each other about it.
Let this be a lesson, kids.
Mhm.
Communication is key to a relationship.
Well, exactly.
Because like again, the way I was playing it was very much that thing of like, where like so like I imagined that like in the sort of environment Oriana grew up in, it's very much that place of like any sort of things you grow attached to can be utilized to like control you or manipulate you in some way, right? So like having something where it's like this is somebody that you don't have to be on guard for, that you don't have to like read between the lines, that like you can share that intimacy and that vulnerability is like that's a huge fucking deal to her. Whoops, there it is.
Yeah, I've been trying so hard.
I did. I was doing good for a while. I was saying dang
It's
it
fine.
and
It's all
everything.
good.
You know,
Anyway,
so good.
last game you did so good. You had to
I
work
did.
so hard.
I did. But anyway, so it was, so yeah, so basically, like, it's one of those things, like, you can rationalize, at least from her perspective, like, you can rationalize the, multiple partners for, like, physical relationships, because it's like, whatever, she's gonna go off and do whatever, and, like, I don't care, like, those don't mean anything, like, whatever, because this is, we have something more than that.
But the
Um,
emotional relationship.
yeah. So like I want to say like so again like Oriana seeing how like because it was like one of those things too where it's just also like this is the epitome of the overprivileged dayside person mansplaining to us about how to behave when we're used to being on night side and cutting corners and making compromises and stuff. And it's like, yeah, we make fun of those people. And to have Sparrow be like, no, why are you being so mean? Was like, wait, what? But we make fun of
Yeah, and
those people.
and I think for Sparrow, one of the things with Isadora that kind of caught her off guard and kind of put her in that position of like developing feelings for this person was like having grown up on Nightside and having basically everyone she's ever interacted with also be Nightsiders, very hard Scrabble people. And then there's this person who, yes, is very privileged, but also showed her a kind of care that she's never received before. at least in my perceptions of it. Like it's this kind of like
It was that
something that she
immediate sense of, oh, you see me as a person and I don't have to do anything to get that from you.
like well, especially in contrast to like how contentious things had been with Oriana, especially over the
Yeah.
last couple seasons. It definitely
The relationship
like
with Isadora was kind of easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like it
Oh,
was also coming off.
Eric lost audio.
Well, so what I was
Talk over.
oh
Go,
Don't
no,
worry,
go ahead.
just
Go
go
ahead.
on.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
now we got it
so
back.
what I was gonna say is that it also came at like, like Oriana had that very uh 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 intense like heart to heart with Sparrow, where like because like at that point in like the middle of the season where she had the advanced stage of the plague and is like, I might actually die, and like I am so scared. And so like like having that like expressing that level of vulnerability to Sparrow and trying to like get that comfort, and then kind of seeing, and then I want to say like literally either that episode or the next episode is when Isadora showed up. So it's kind of like,
Mhm.
okay, cool, cool,
Oh
cool,
yeah.
cool, cool.
And Sparrow was absolutely terrified of the idea of Ori dying. Like that there is definitely no question about that.
Yeah,
She was
because
also
it's
kind of
just
in she was a little bit in denial, I think. She tried not to think about it too much, but because when she did, it scared her. Because like it's kind of funny that she went through a lot of this scared of losing Ori and loses Ori because of her own decisions.
yep.
I find it
Because she got scared.
fascinating
She
that
loses Ori because she got scared.
the way the Isadora thing happened from Anji's perspective, like she did not see that coming at all. First off, she doesn't know that Sparrow is Polly, so that's not a thing that she groks. She just, Ori and Sparrow are together. That is the state of the world. That is a fixed item. That is a lodestar situation in my life that I can count upon, same as the sky is gray and the road is made of stone. So Isadora shows up and she's like, "Oh, you remind me of my mother's bridge club. You're not even a whole person. You're a dayside artifact."
You're a stereotype.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, like I do
you're not
not
a thing.
see you as capable of having or stirring a feeling. Absolutely not. You're a thing. You are made of stone. You are not capable of causing feelings, much less having them. The hell no. And this is immutable. This relationship, you can't, nothing will tear it asunder. And
This is
so
this is end game. You're not getting in the way of this,
yeah,
Isadora.
exactly.
And then,
I'm
like-
so
pissed off.
the fact that there was a way that she was able to do that, and Anji genuinely didn't see it. Like when Sparrow had that moment with Isadora, Anji was not paying attention. So then when Sparrow like literally vanished, that was probably as big a surprise to Anji as it was to Oriana, because suddenly the steady state of the universe had just changed. And that was like, wait, hold up. What?
Yeah, and for Sparrow,
someone just like turned off gravity.
Yeah, and for Sparrow to some degree, it was an aspect of like she believed that like and told herself fairly regularly that Ori was always going to be there. Like that was the steady thing. That was the steady thing. The main like this solid
Load-bearing coconut.
Yeah.
Oriana learned self-worth last season.
Yes. And so she didn't really
you
think
gain the
about
power
it.
of love, then you gain the power of self-respect. Yeah.
And then the
Like-
power of incredible violence.
Yeah.
Like, and
All right, go on, Allie. Sorry.
Sparrow didn't like really like think about that beyond like, oh, like whatever happens, Ori's going to be there. And then shit got real. And like I don't think she really recognized how much she was taking Ori for granted, or that like, the ways that she thought she was expressing, her affection, her feelings without being able to say the words, because that's difficult for her, weren't really weren't really like enough. They weren't really doing the job. So it was very much this kind of like, because that's something that does come up in the 20 years later conversation, is the like,
Mhm.
wanting to at least have heard her say, how she felt. And Sparrow's like, I didn't think I had to.
Mm,
And Ori's just
Like,
like, you could have left it at you didn't think.
mm,
And
mhm,
it's funny that
mhm.
on the one hand, Sparrow is coming at it from a shouldn't my actions be enough?
yeah.
Like, it's funny because Ori's not picking up on it, but Sounder's like, yeah, no, Sparrow loves Ori. Yeah, Ori loves Sparrow. They just don't show it the same ways because Sounder's
Well,
from that upbringing where,
again,
yeah,
if it wasn't for Isadora showing up and basically especially at the telling Ori using those three little words when it's like, hey, I might be dying and I'm scared, that's a great time to tell somebody that you love them and it's gonna be okay. Great time. Great time.
Yeah.
um but
Yeah.
to go from that and then see the love of your life basically immediately going into somebody else, and especially somebody who is so hard to get to the root of where they're coming from and their feelings and emotions, and it's just so easy for this other person to do it. It's just like, oh, hey, cool. So
Yeah,
I don't know
Isadora
if this
was
is real anymore.
Isadora was fundamentally alien
Mhm.
to Nightside experience. She is lawful good coming from Dayside, and she is basically a light cleric. Like that's her thing. And she was just so strange and foreign to all of you. Um,
Yeah, no, I
but
grew up
like
around that and I hate it.
Sparrow was drawn to her like a moth to a flame, and
Yep.
she burst into flames at the end of their encounter.
Yeah, just a
well,
bit.
Hmm.
I think that's part of why Sounder was so hostile to Isadora. It wasn't just oh, you're Daysider. Sounder's dealt with Daysiders. She's dealt with that mindset of law, order, good. Like,
Hmm.
okay, cool. The people who fall through the cracks, y'all don't care about. I know this. I'm not even gonna bring them up. So that was what shaped her hostility towards Isadora in part because it was you just didn't think the next step ahead because you've never had to.
Correct. Yeah. That was
And
Ori's
so
problem with her too, is just that that level of judgment that comes from that unearned privilege.
and
Hmm.
Anyway,
in
continue.
Sounder's
Yeah, no,
case it was
meanwhile, Angie's like, I know you. I know you.
it was
You wished to play bridge in Mother's Parlor.
literally a case of, oh, yeah, okay, you're trying to help, but the way you're doing it, you're just so naive.
Yeah.
And nothing I say to you is going to change that. So why are you here? For
Yeah.
Sounder, that's where that hostility came from. And then seeing the kind of dynamic between Isadora and Sparrow shaping, it was like, I don't know what I'm looking at here, and I'm not sure I like it. Because who is she to come in here and do this? And then seeing Sparrow having that level of she missed a lot of those scenes between Isadora and Sparrow, that all of the vulnerability. But there were moments even early on where Sparrow was just you played it up really well, Allie, where Sparrow was just smitten, and it was
Yeah.
like,
That
hang on.
very puppy dog
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Sounder is so much more emotionally intelligent than like the words she says always let on. So Sounder
Who's making the inside checks?
clocked it.
It's
Yeah.
Sounder.
Who's talking to the
Sounder
people?
clocked
Not
it
Sounder.
from the first moment. Sounder would have clocked whatever was going on, while Anji is oblivious because she is
Yeah.
mostly for decoration, and Oriana is trying not to see it, because Oriana did use the L word. She used the L word more than once, and other people heard it, and Sparrow had to have heard it. So
She heard it.
so
I think, yeah.
we all were various levels of aware, but Sounder was very aware of what was happening there but because of who she is as like a taciturn person, she didn't come to me and be like, we gotta stop this. Like she just like
In Sounders,
knew
you have to
things.
stop anything.
Yeah.
And for Sparrow, it was like Sparrow, it didn't really even enter her head that like this would negatively impact her other relationship, because why would it? Like that doesn't make any sense to her. Like it doesn't impact her feelings for Ori at all. So like the fact that she turns around after having her heart ripped out and is just like, oh no. Oh no.
What do you mean we need to talk?
I just want to say like because I remembered like the thought that I had before that I missed, but basically just like for Ori, seeing like the again that like this person is so easily able to like immediately get to this level of intimacy with my partner that took me years to get to. And it's just like that, like I don't understand what this feeling that I have is because I've never experienced jealousy before, but it just like
Jealousy
if any
will
of y'all have
drive you
seen Wicked, just that like
mad.
what is this feeling? Loathing.
I need you to go look at the chat, because as you were having that, I literally just typed, what is this feeling so sudden, and knew.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's perfect.
So another aspect to that I wanted to bring into play is that like Sparrow probably wasn't this bad before the bad shit she went through, because like she's always had issues connecting and always been very kind of insular with as far as like her feelings and that, but like the
to be
trauma
fair, she's part of
she
Shadow Knives, like
the trauma she went through before the campaign that made her like shade bound, gave her all the crazy shadow powers, like that made her worse. And so it's this like
here you go, everyone you've ever known and cared about in the same location as you dies.
because they were basically her family after she joined up, like her mentor slash father figure, all of the other all the other members of her little cell that were people she worked with consistently. I mean, she had kind of a thing going with one of the other Shadow Knives who was one of the ones that made it to the end and that she killed inadvertently because she lost control of her powers, and that's why she was so terrified, and that's why she was so weird about it with Ori, because she didn't want the same thing to happen to Ori. Like,
And meanwhile, Ori,
Same.
like when that came out, Ori's response is like, "How dare you? Do you not understand how powerful I am?"
Yes, I love that
well,
so
now
much.
I do, yes. That wasn't exactly information I had at the time.
Thought I was weak. How
Yeah,
dare you?
that was good. So yeah, it's and the funny aspect is that the scene in episode 9 where Isadora gets stabbed is a direct mirror to the dream or nightmare that Sparrow had in episode 8, where she was on that reddish plane and saw Ori get stabbed by her doppelganger and literally had to rip herself away from the Isadora version that was there to get to Ori and desperately trying to save her. But Ori didn't see that. Ori didn't get to see that moment where she like turned on her own doppelganger and tried to stab it to death because of what it did when it was clear she couldn't save Ori. And which also then in turn fueled her reactions when it happened in the real to Isadora. So like it was this kind of weird mirroring, and then Ori doesn't get that context because
it was like I set up this great
Yeah, it's
ironic
like
tragedy.
Eric did that on purpose.
I know,
Speaking
right?
of, I do have a question for you, Eric. 'Cause
Please.
in the pre-stream chat, you had mentioned that there were plot lines and threads that you had made that we
Went
did not.
unexplored.
Yes. So I am curious if you want to tell us, and by extension, our lovely audience, about any of those interesting threads that you can talk about, presuming, these are things you won't reuse in like whatever the
Sure.
next thing is.
Yeah.
I
I'll
remember
give
the
you a
train
couple
tokens
examples.
one.
Sure. There was
Yeah.
the train tokens one. That was a good example. Okay, so I have made no secret about the fact that I was inspired to create season 3 from the Pathologic video game, which is a network of interconnected quests and tasks that you can do, many of which have no real bearing or purpose. Like, you shouldn't do these. And several of the tasks that you could do have bad results. Like, they make it worse for you if you accomplish the quest. So the train token thing comes from that game, sort of. It's inspired by that. You could have gone to the Faceless, the head of the Shadow Knives,
Mhm.
Shadow Knives,
um,
yeah.
who was collecting all the train tokens. And they would have given you a quest to go and kill off this rival gang of Shadow Knives who had broken away from the guild. And in exchange, they would give you 5 train tokens, right? For you to distribute as you wish. And if you went and accomplished the quest, which would be this huge combat encounter that you're like clearly set up to fail, but like if you did succeed and you came back, they would give you the 5 tokens and say, "I'm so glad that this worked out. I'm happy to have allies. I look forward to working with you in the future." And you'd go to the Doom train to get on the Doom train to flee the city, and you'd find out that the Doom train was not running because the lords of the city now had the executive power to stop the train from running because you had essentially proven that the plague was real and they locked everything down.
That
So
was
you
one of the things.
basically
I feel like that's
thwart your
part of
own
why
efforts.
we didn't chase that, because we're like, what good is a train ticket if the train's not going to run? And we derailed the last one. It fell off a bridge into the sea. So maybe the train is not for us.
So you
On top
happen
of
to
that,
make
it
the
was
right decision.
yeah.
Yes.
that angle of, oh, well, the only reason we want to go there is so we can take evidence of, hey, this plague is a thing, to Dayside to be like, stay back, maybe? Don't come over
I
here.
mean, I was fine with the plague taking Dayside.
But it wasn't gonna, because the way the sunlight worked, it was
Yeah.
never going to spread at the
Yeah.
same degree.
There were a couple of other things that buttons that I could press, but I didn't need to press. One of which was going to be Mata telling Aji that her parents had been arrested for being potentially infected or collaborators with the plague spreader.
Spicy.
But that didn't need to happen because you were already against Mata. I
Anji could not have cared less about her parents.
I know, but it still would have produced this strange emotional resonance in it, right?
We would have had a moment. We would have had a moment, but that moment would have probably been humorous eventually.
Yeah.
Don't like them. Remember when they tried to stop me from being who I am and said they hated me as a person? Yeah, we don't like them anymore.
There was going to be a quest where you took supplies to a converted hospital, and when you got there, everyone was already dead from the plague.
Drama.
Like, that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of dead from the plague, the whole Physicker's house that we never got to investigate further.
Oh yeah,
man.
the Medicare yeah, where like it was creepy AF and there were like dead people. Yeah, we didn't like that.
There
We
were
probably didn't-
infected people.
We probably
I
didn't need to
was
kill
ve-
those people.
I was
Probably, but we
very
didn't know. We
listen.
thought they were undead.
I was very happy that I set that place on fire. I stand by that decision. I'll just put that out
It's not
there.
a bad decision.
I don't think anyone's mad at you for that. Like that was fine. We might could have looted the place a little better before we burned it down, but no, that was still a good decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like,
Anyway.
didn't we get chased out of the house by like the super disease?
Yes.
Like that's why we were all outside.
more or
Yes,
less.
and then
Yeah.
we ran into the dwarf lady who wanted to feed us good food and also
Yeah.
like use us, but we got a good
Yeah.
dinner out of that. So
I could have gone much more into the politics and the scheming with the dwarves.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you got some focus and access to them and to see a little bit how their story would go.
I remember there was also the thing with Lilith wanting us to make a seat for her on in the like triarchy thing by
Not
taking out
Lilith, the widow.
no,
the
Nelly.
widow, sorry. The widow.
Yeah, she wanted you to take out the faceless
Mhm.
Lord of the Shadow Knives.
Yeah, like that
But-
was the thing I was kind of bummed we didn't get to do because that sounded interesting. Not that
So
I
I-
would have.
I do feel like a conversation like after everyone's had a chance to catch their breath, Anji's arm doesn't hurt anymore. Like we're figuring out who's sleeping where. One of the conversations that will happen is like, hey, Oriana, you're gonna be kind of in charge right now. How much power do you want? And how much power would you like to offload? Because we still kind of own Nelly, and I would love to tell her she's in charge of something. Like let's
Yeah.
make her your employee. It'll make her happy. It will take things you don't want to do off your plate, and everybody wins. Like I do feel like that's a conversation that we're gonna have pretty
And-
soon as the city starts to sew itself back up again.
And an alliance between the new head of the Hellfire Syndicate and the widow herself, who heads up one of the other major crime syndicates. I don't think she'd ever agree to working for you, but working with you, that's something she can do.
Well, she says working with, we say working for. What is semantics when everybody's getting what they want?
Well, and I want to point out politically and strategically, it might make sense for the newly elevated Profane Mother to leave the two thieves guilds in competition with each other so that neither of them turns against you.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially when you don't have the bodies to defend you.
Well,
Right.
when I was
maybe
playing
20 years from now.
when I was playing vampire, I got put into the position of prince with my elder because it was one of those cases where the city had gone through like 3 or 4 princes and needed an adult, and I was like, all right, fine, children. So the way I ran my so what was fun about it is that our game was like all like so it was basically like my character is the only ancient person on this in the whole city, and everybody else is like, you know, at most 100 years old. So like I would just basically watch all the other players do their little politicking and backstabbing and trying to like mess around with stuff, and like they would all be like thinking they're so sneaky and so coy, and like, you know, but I had like spies everywhere, so
Yeah.
obviously I knew everything that's going on, and like it was very much that like old lady thing of like, okay, I will only intervene when you guys are so messy that I have to do something about it, and then you're getting extra punished because I had to get up out of my chair, and like that's kind of how I envision like watching the Thieves Guild duke it out or whatever.
I have to tell you, I feel like we had very parallel vampire game experiences. I got elevated to prince because I was the girl. And so there was a lot of like male power fantasy of like, I stand between the girl and the danger. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit here and eat chicken wings and let you do that.
See,
So-
this was my Valkyrie character.
My vampire LARP, she was a primogen of the Toreadors. She liked art museums and to like stand on the shore and look at the water
what
while
just happened?
drinking delicious things.
Oh,
And,
So-
okay.
We glitched, but we're good.
We're good. Yeah, we're fine.
Okay.
So that does bring me to we should probably talk about our the future of things, because we
Yes.
are running out of time. So
Yes.
I do want
That's
to
right.
say that moving forward, the new game will be taking place about 10 years into the future. 10 years out from the finale of this arc of Greymantle, with a completely new cast of characters, which everyone's still kind of figuring out what they're playing. But things are gonna get shaken up a bit. To tease things a little, the party is going to have to deal with a new enemy, or at least a new old enemy, that will be threatening Dayside, and having largely, one way or another, at least they claim, taking control of Nightside, and declaring war. And this group calls themselves the Sons of Typhon, a cult dedicated to Typhon, the former ruler of Hell, who was deposed by his own daughter.
This is gonna be fun. And
Yeah.
now I think I'm gonna go with my second character that I came up with, just because that premise is so juicy.
Yeah.
No, that'll be so good.
That will be good. And we'll be playing around with some of the Dayside politicking and the noble houses and the weird kind of like Game of Thrones dance of politics that happens on Dayside.
Yeah, which that's totally my flavor of fun. I won't tease my character's concept, because depending on the rule set we choose to go with, you gotta build the character. You gotta build the character a little differently, based on what the rules say you're allowed to do.
There is some discussion about what game system we're going to use. We haven't decided on that yet, so don't quote us or anything, but we might use the 2024 D&D rules, which I refer to as D&D 5.5, or we might use Pathfinder 2nd edition
remastered,
which I've never played before, and I'm very confused by.
Which would be brand new for the Dungeon Scrawlers channel. I don't think we've ever had a Pathfinder game on the channel, or at least not more than like a one shot here and there. So that would be an interesting experiment.
I will say,
if folks are interested, this is a good time to let us know, right?
If we make that decision, I will definitely be showing up at Eric's house with like a rule book and going live on TikTok while I make him walk me through building the character. Because I don't know anything.
That's very not a joke. She's really gonna do that.
I really would do that. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I have done things like show up at Eric's house and make him do the work for me before. This would not even be the first time. So.
Man, it's so fun. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that could be like a fun poll for like the community, even. Like, I don't know. I mean, again, like I feel very biased here.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
I am just like very resistant to change. So like every time I have to learn something new, I'm like, no, I'm too old to learn something new. But if I were too resistant to change, I never would have learned D&D 5e and rolled this character. So like learning new things can be good. I'm just bad at it.
And like
hilariously, the Pathfinder rogue is probably one of the most complicated classes in all of Pathfinder, and that was my first major character. It is so complicated with all the conditionals. This is the cheat sheet I made for how to do my turn. Except the thing is that then I played literally any other class and was like, oh wow, this is very easy. So
yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason why when I was testing the new the 2e remaster rules, and I made a version of Sparrow. I made her a swashbuckler, not a rogue.
I enjoyed playing rogue because I also main dragoon in Final Fantasy 14. So
this makes a lot of sense.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Sure.
Consider.
Okay, that tracks. Yeah.
So we'll be playing around with Dayside more. I'm hoping we can explore some of the fun aspects there. I know. I want to explore more with the flip side of the coin to the Hellspawn, which is the Elysians, Aasimar, basically, who definitely aren't as numerous as Hellspawn are in Nightside. They don't have a lot of like family units and lineages, but they do pop up from time to time, and they can become fairly highly placed due to the perceived blessings that such a child can bring. And they're not all Arisian either. They're not all related to Aris or the worship of Aris. Some of them, like there's a noble family on Dayside called the Nildane family, who are have a high rate of Elysians in their family tree, and they're dedicated to the Lady of Pleasure, one of the Lords of the Dread Realms. So, which to be clear, the Lords of the Dread Realms, not evil as a unit. A lot of evil gods in that unit, but the Lady of Pleasure is chaotic neutral. Although if we're using Pathfinder, there are no alignments in Pathfinder 2e. So,
Excellent.
They did away with alignment, so we'll see how that goes. But not that we ever really look at the alignment or worry about it. We just play our characters.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, so like it takes all kinds, and like yes, the faith of Aris is prevalent and fairly dominant in Dayside, but it is not the only faith represented. All the gods have like small temples or shrines within the city. It's just a matter of like Aris gets the big one in the big center of town, basically.
The big old cathedral.
Big old cathedral. I mean, Aris even has shrines on Nightside, but they worship, they view her in a very different way than the Dayside Arisians do.
And
Very much
Anji flips them off every time she walks past.
Which is funny
Hate you a
because
little
Sparrow doesn't talk about it, but she's Arisian.
Because the stars.
It's because it's very like it's on Nightside. It's very much more like night focused. Like she's Arisian in the way that like a lapsed Catholic is Catholic. Like she's not actually like, she doesn't attend things, but like she's got some
every now
tie
and
to
then
it.
go to a shrine if
Yeah.
you really feel the need.
I mean,
So
You know, or you put up the Christmas tree.
yeah, you put up the
Like-
Christmas
like,
tree.
You may
make
not be going to midnight mass, but you'll put up the Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
So the character concept that I'm currently working on, if you can hear me, can we hear me?
Mhm.
Can we hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you.
The character concept that I'm currently working on is, well, I listed him as agnostic, which is not to say that he doesn't believe the gods exist. Yes, the gods exist. He doesn't believe that the gods should be worshipped. He thinks the gods are dangerous, that religion is a disease that is keeping people from evolving to the next stage.
That's spicy.
So that's
like
an
that.
interesting thing that's going to happen in the game
Yeah,
if
like,
I get the chance.
It's definitely hard to be completely atheistic in a setting where the gods literally have agents on that walk the world and use magic that the gods give them. But like, I like that angle. That's a very fun angle.
My character distrusts magic and religion and would prefer that we get past these superstitions to embrace science and progress, because that's one of the things that is key about the Greymantle setting. Is it has this level of sophistication and technology that far exceeds most fantasy settings.
I just
Like
love
that.
that, again, I am thinking about playing a very ardent paladin. So this is going to be great. This is going to be
I'm-
great.
My character concept, without going into mechanics, is someone who is very, very, very low level, but in the highest halls of government. Think like congressional page. So someone who is basically furniture, to the people who have and use and broker and create the most important information. So can sort of come and go as they please, and can
You're the kid in the West Wing.
can choose to broker that information or not, depending on how it serves their interests. And so knows a lot of stuff, doesn't care about any of it, is very pragmatic, and for the right price can probably tell you the president's like preferred brand of socks. But like it's just, it doesn't, they don't feel like they have a dog in the race, but also like, oh, you want to know that? Like we can talk, we can deal. I can get into the room where it happens and literally tell you everything if the price is right. If you convince me to be on your side. Just like very pragmatic.
They said information broker.
Yeah. But like small and practically invisible.
Halfling, they said. Not.
I'm definitely
Possibly
excited.
Again, depending on the rule set, we'll see what mechanically that looks like.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited to bring in some of the trappings from the home game that I've been doing. There are some favored NPCs that the players really enjoy interacting with, that some y'all will recognize because they'll be making an appearance, and they've made an appearance before. Some, you might not, like the very, very eccentric magic shop owner, Archibald, and his manservant Reginald, who is very over the top, and there is some question as to how many Reginalds there have been. But they've all been named Reginald, and they've all been very like long suffering. Like they don't have time for his nonsense. And yet they put up with him anyway because the pay's okay, I guess. Or maybe it's a pact, maybe it's weird, I don't know, but it's a fun character to play regardless.
So we're coming up with some interesting stuff for our future Greymantle game. It's all still in flux because we're making those decisions. We're going to be discussing on the Discord. So if you're not already joined to the Dungeon Scrawlers Discord, you should join. We have conversations about all kinds of things, various streams, different books. Writing about dragons and shit is one of our neighbors here on the Discord. So if you listen to that podcast, this is the place to discuss it, and you have ready access to the hosts, which is pretty great. Aaron and Trevor are there regularly. B Dave has been known to stop in on our streams, so come hang out with us. It's a fun time. I'm thinking that this is about a good time to wrap up. So do we have anything left for the good of the order?
I have one last
or the
note.
evil of the order?
I mean, just that if anyone watching wants to know anything that's going on with all of the like DM chats that we've been having in the background. Jen and I have had some very hilarious exchanges. You are welcome to like hop onto the Discord, find us on social media, ask us these questions, because we are not afraid to share the silliness that is going on in the background, the fallout as we let these characters sort of leave our amygdalas and go live on their own.
As you can tell, we enjoy talking about our characters.
Yes,
Ellie.
definitely. I was going to say just one last tease of a character that will be fairly important that you will encounter, that I'm going to tell you about this now, is a certain Isadora Alistair.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Visions.
We're gonna have to like have the biggest like brain thing shift to be like, okay, this is somebody we respect.
We don't know that we hate her. We don't know that we hate her. We don't know that we hate her.
Well, let me ask you this question in response, Allie. Are we just going to encounter Isadora? Or are we also going to encounter Isadora's child?
That's a good question.
Ooh, we can just leave it as a tease.
Dun dun
You
dun.
might not. I don't know yet.
Okay.
Damn it!
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on this retrospective about Greymantle. Obviously, we discuss it further on the Discord. If you want to come join us, there will be more Greymantle coming. I don't have an exact date, but it's going to be hopefully in 2025. Probably in the spring, in the summer, maybe. Yeah, and we'll see.
I don't know. We've
We'll
got
see.
other stuff we're working on too, so I don't know what
That's
order
right.
that's going to come out in.
I have a spinoff to the original Westgate Irregulars campaign that I'm working on. Erin has a campaign that she's working on. I'm not going to tell you anything about it so that I can leave her with full flexibility, but she is a fantastic DM, as anybody who watched Fearful Symmetry can attest. And I am really looking forward to that. So we have a lot of great stuff coming for you in 2025. Plus, maybe an extra life game where we swap characters in Greymantle. I think that's hilarious. Anyway,
My partner and my 11-year-old came up with that like at the dinner table tonight when I said we weren't going to play those characters anymore, and I feel like now we have to do this. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Who are you? Where can we find you? I have been Eric Scott to be the DM of this campaign, playing in the next one. And you can find me online, Blue Sky, Facebook. I have a book coming out in January. It's called Fallen Angel. Keep an eye out for it. Take it away, Allie.
Hi, everybody. I am Alexandra Pitchford, or Allie for short. I played Sparrow this time around. Next time will be the DM or GM, whatever the heck I am.
It depends what system we're playing.
You could find me on Blue Sky. I have a Sparrow mini
Oh.
that I need to paint. But yeah, Jen.
Oh, okay. Hello, I'm Jen. I go by Savage Sparrow on the internet, which is how you can find me on most social media. SavageSparrow.com is my super awesome website for nerdy apparel and accessories. And if you like the artwork that I've done for this stream and other stuff on the Dungeon Scholars channel, Patreon.com/Savage Sparrow is where I post all my artwork, because it's the only way I can make sure that I don't have to fight an algorithm so people who want to see my stuff can actually see it. You can literally join for free. I played Oriana Devereaux this campaign, and I had a great time. Lex!
Hi, I'm Lex. You can find me on the internet, also at Blue Sky, at Fort of Air, and other places at LexArts with 2 X's, such as my Patreon, which also has a free tier if you want to slide in there and see what's going on. I illustrate. I play games. I played Sounder for this particular campaign, and I can't think of anything else to say. So. Oh, it's Amanda's turn.
Oh, it is my turn. Okay, hi. Yeah, I'm Amanda Cherry. I have played Anji, the thirsty bard who's mostly for decoration. You can find me online at Manda the Ginger. That's on the X Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky. I'm also on Instagram, but I don't really use it. And Facebook.com/thegingervillain. I'm also thegingervillain.com. If you are a Worldcon member, I am really trying very hard to lose the Best Series Hugo this coming year at the Seattle Worldcon. So please check that out on my website. Nominate me for the Best Series Hugo, but then please don't vote for me. Vote for your actual favorite. Yeah, I've had a blast, and I am looking forward to seeing you all in the new year.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everyone.
Bye.